a former Call of Duty world champion.
BigTymeR just went so clutch for OpTic.
I mean, I played for OpTic Gaming. I traveled all across the country and across the world competing for hundreds of thousands of dollars in prize money against the best players in the world, and I was really good at it.
BigTymeR, you're the captain of the squad.
One of the best players in the game.
BigTymeR on a roll right now.
And then I left it all behind to become a day trader. Oh shit. But here's the thing that nobody really expected, myself included. I didn't realize that teenage me, sitting in my bedroom playing video games, would end up building me a skill set and a repertoire, if you will, that would directly translate into financial markets later in life. But that's actually exactly what happened, and in this video I'm gonna break down the 5 key concepts and things I learned from my professional gaming career that directly translated to professional trading. All right, let's do a little thought exercise for a moment. I need everybody to close your eyes. Close your eyes, please, and imagine this is Black Ops 2, rewind the clocks, 2013, and we're about to spawn in. It's Slums Capture the Flag.
Capture the flag.
And the countdown goes 8, 7, 6, 5, and pause. Now, this is a very critical time in the game, but you have to realize at this point, the game has not even started yet. So what's going through my head exactly? Let's say this is my team spawn, and this is the other team spawn. I know that 2 of my teammates like to go to the right side of the map, 1 likes to go to the left, and my job was to cover the middle. And the other team probably had a similar sort of deal going on there. Now, as the guy responsible for the middle of the map, there are multiple ways that I can go about taking this fight. I could throw a smoke over the wall and rush him. I could throw a stun in order to get an advantage. I could just fight him straight up, which is what I normally did. But depending on what happens in that first interaction in the first 30 seconds of the game is gonna dictate the way the game flows from there. For example, if I do get this kill, and check it out, this is me spraying bullets. This is gonna be a terrible graphic. I'm spraying bullets. Say I get the kill, but my teammate over here on the left-hand side, he dies. What do I gotta do? I gotta haul ass behind the fountain, hit the head glitch, and spray him down this way. Or let's pretend that didn't happen. What if I'm the one that dies middle, and my teammate gets this kill? Where do I now need to flow once I respawn back on the map? What I'm getting at here is I've already played through the first part of the game before the game has even happened. In other words, I've been contingency planning and planning for all scenarios that are possible. That way, when it happens in the moment, because these things move so quickly, I don't actually have to think about it. I'm just reacting based on instinct and my experience. And what if I told you that the exact same thing happens in the stock market? Swear to Bob, check it out. Before I enter every trade, I am contingency planning, and I'm planning for all the possible scenarios. What's gonna happen if the stock immediately goes in my favor and I get a win? How am I gonna take profits? Am I gonna sell a third and then put a trailing stop on the rest? What about if it immediately goes wrong? Where am I gonna stop out at? Am I gonna stop out on the full position? Am I gonna stop out on half of it? Hell, what if I have an idea for a trade and it doesn't hit my stop or the target, but I thought something was about to happen in 15 minutes and now 2 hours have gone past and nothing's happened? What do I do in that situation? I come up with answers to all of these possible scenarios so that whatever happens in the market, which includes an element of randomness, I've already contingency planned for it, and I don't gotta think that much. I've already done the thinking ahead of time, and so now I just need to react. Gaming and trading, a lot of synergy there. Let me continue. Okay, imagine another scenario for a moment. You're spawning in, maybe it's Slum Search and Destroy now, and you rush up the middle of the map in the first round and you die, and now you're pissed off. Because you're pissed off, now in the second round, you run right back to the same spot and try to get the kill and you die again. This continues on, and because you're upset and the game is not flowing for you, you tend to force things, you're very impatient, you're doing things that you normally wouldn't do, and because of that, you're dying more often, and your KD, well, it looks terrible. You're putting up a goose egg 6 rounds in, and you're wondering, are you cut out for this shit? Follow me now. What if I told you that the exact same thing happens in the stock market? This is something I like to call the negative feedback loop. Let's say, for example, on Monday you lose money, and so Tuesday morning you're coming to the market, and because you lost money the day before, you end up having this very needy energy about you. You feel the need to make money, and not only that, but you need to make it back right now. And because of that, you're very impatient for setups. Not only are you impatient for setups, but when the setups do finally come around, which probably aren't the best anyway, you're entering them too early. You're not patient enough. You're being very impatient and you're forcing things. Plus you're sizing aggressively because you're not only trying to make money today, but you want to make back yesterday's losses. And because you're impatient for setups and you enter early and you size too aggressively, you end end up trading incorrectly, meaning stock goes against you a little bit and you stop out prematurely, or the stock starts to work a little bit and you take profits when the trade's not even over yet. You don't trade according to your trade management, your risk management plan, and your trading process. And because of that, only one thing can happen. You lose money. And then you lose money that day, and you're even more impatient the next. And you can see how this can start to turn into a very vicious cycle. This is why we call it the negative feedback loop. Now, rest assured, there is a positive feedback loop as well, where you say you make money on Monday, you come in Tuesday, and things are fine. You don't feel the need to force. You don't feel like you have to make money today. And therefore, you're very patient for your setups and, more importantly, your entries. You're not oversizing. You're taking normal everyday size because you don't feel you have to make back any losses. And because of that, you trade correctly. And when you trade correctly and according to your process, assuming your process has edge and trades with positive expectancy, over time you make money, which reinforces the good habits, and voila, you're in the positive feedback loop. Once again, gaming and trading, a little bit of synergy there. Now, this wasn't as big a deal in my Call of Duty career because honestly, we just didn't have the technology available to us. But these days, it's very important for players and teams to review their gameplay. They need to know if they rotated too early or too late to a particular hardpoint. They need to know if they need to work on their, search and destroy strategies when they're trying to push B, 4 push B or 4 push A. They need to work on that stuff. The only way to really know what's working and what's not, and who's screwing up where, and who could do a little bit better job here, is to actually go back and watch the thing. Specifically, going back and watching the things you did wrong. Anybody can go back and watch when something goes right. That stuff just happens. And also in the stock market, the wins kind of just fall into your lap, but it's studying the losses and the things that you could have done better within those that really can take you to the next level. But you'd be surprised how many people get involved in the stock market and they don't track anything. They don't know if they make more money going long or short. They don't know if they make money from 9:30 to 11 and lose money afterwards because they get bored. They're essentially just trading off vibes. And in Call of Duty and trading, say you're pub stomping in Call of Duty or you're just trading for fun as a hobby, you might be able to get away with it for a little bit. But the difference in trading here is there really is no middle ground. You're either really good at it or you lose money. In COD, there's way more progression. You can be a beginner, you can do good in pubs, you can be an okay competitive player, you could be a challengers player, and you could be a professional. Trading, it's very binary. You're either really good and you make money, or you're not really good and you lose money. So I would say this one in particular, it's actually much more important in trading to go back and review all of the things that either make you or don't make you money in the market, and figure out what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what can you cut out, what can you double down on, because it's those people that actually have some longevity and are able to sustain through multiple market cycles and continue to adapt in the market, which brings me to my next point. Now, the fourth concept is how the meta is always changing. Back in my day, I'm thinking late 2008, Call of Duty 4. The best players in the game, they would take over games almost by brute force. There was no silliness going on around the map. There really wasn't a whole lot of thought that was going around on the map. Playing Call of Duty competitively was a relatively new concept even then. And so they would brute force their way through the map, and they would just challenge every gunfight, and if they could shoot straighter and faster than you, then they would win the game. Believe it or not, 2009, I was one of the new guys. I was the new kid on the block, and we came up with some different strategies, if you will, in order to combat these guys. For example, if I'm running back alley on Crash Dom, and I see you, instead of me just standing there and shooting at you, I'm gonna drop to the floor real fast and see if you can shoot me on the floor. Started drop shotting that ass, boy. Or maybe I didn't even want to fight you with a weapon at all. Maybe I would just wait for you to hop on the flag on B, and I'm sitting in the corner cooked up, 3 nades. Walk up, throw it over the corner of the building, all dead. We're hitting nade spots, we're doing drop shots, we're actually thinking about ways to counter what the opponent is doing. I know it's a novel concept, but this was a long time ago, okay? The market is the same exact thing. The strategies that worked 10 years ago, hell, even 2 or 3 years ago, you can see them slowly and sometimes quickly fade away into oblivion. They don't work anymore because competition is not static. I don't care if you're in competitive Call of Duty or if you're in the stock market. It's always evolving. It's always adapting. There are always new participants coming into the market looking to take your money, and therefore you have to constantly be open to change and adapt in order to survive long term. Just for example, in the stock market, it used to be relatively easy. If you saw a little pump and dump small cap stock go up 100 or 200%, you could relatively safely short that thing overnight, maybe for a couple of days, wait for it to go back down, and cover for a handsome profit without taking too much heat on your trades. And I swear to God, last week I watched the stock go from 3 to like 62 in about 15 seconds in the pre-market. If you did not adapt to the new market environment, you are dead. And last but not least, in Call of Duty and in trading, you need to surround yourself with a good team. You ever seen those teams where they got 4 great slayers who are just absolutely laser beams on the map? They shoot really straight and really fast, but they're also kind of stupid. I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying, like, sometimes maybe they forget that the objective of the game is to like capture the most amount of flags or the most amount of hard point points. And so they don't really work together well as a team. You gotta throw in a little objective work in there. You need a couple of slayers. You need somebody really focused on the objective. You maybe need a utility player who's kind of a jack of all trades type of deal. But really, there's not a whole lot of those players in COD, at least back when I played. JCat comes to mind. My boy, what's going on, baby? But trading is very similar in the sense that I myself, I find myself pretty good at certain areas of the market, but I do have blind spots. For example, you could be a great breaking news trader, but you're not really informed on biotech companies. So a phase 2 clinical trial comes out, breaking news, catalyst, the stock is getting ready to move, and you've got 10 seconds to react, but you don't really know if this is a positive or negative catalyst. Well, I'll be damned having somebody in your pod or your trading group that is knowledgeable about these things. They could be worth tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in that moment if you had them by your side. And it's a little bit easier with Call of Duty and a lot of competitive games because you're almost forced into that team environment. But a lot of people go at trading with a very solo mindset, me against the market, me against everybody else. And there's really enough money to go around to where it would behoove a lot of people to surround themselves with people who fill in those gaps and actually make them better as a trader. Hell, I'm even thinking of a place right now, the Green Wall Street Discord, with the link in the description below. This is where we make that happen every day. That was a good plug. That was a good plug. You liked it. You did. But really, trading alongside a group of people who have multiple eyes on the market and know how to spot high value opportunities and can share those with you, and having different people look at the same opportunity and give different perspectives on it based on their own experience and expertise, that is really invaluable stuff. And so here's the real takeaway and what I'm getting at with this video. It's not the smartest people, in my experience, that end up succeeding in the stock market. If anything, at a certain point, more IQ is worse, but it's those people who contingency plan, the people who have total control over their own emotions day in and day out, those who are constantly reviewing their trades and doubling down on the things that are working and cutting out the things that aren't, those who are always open to adapt and accept new ideas, and those who would rather trade in a collaborative environment instead of going at this thing solo by themselves. Those are the people that succeed. And I'm telling you, I don't care what type of competition experience you have. If you've competed in sports or gaming or chess or anything, you probably already have a lot of the foundational skills necessary in order to at least give yourself a shot at succeeding in the stock market. It's still a very hard game, and there are no guarantees. But I guess what I'm getting at here is, don't let anybody tell you just because something is difficult or just because they couldn't do it, that you can't do it. Anything in life worth doing takes some risk, and it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of effort. And that's what makes the payoff so great. And if you're one of those people that like to tear others down and tell them they can't do something because you couldn't do it, I'm here to tell you to shut your ass up, boy. I'm kidding. I love y'all. Appreciate you tuning into the video, and I will catch you right back here next time. Peace out, everybody.